Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Cryptic and Unhinged. I'm your host, marykate.willis, and very exciting episode today. Very fun things to come. But before I get into intros, make sure that you follow my socials. My Instagram is marykate.willis. My new TikToks are MK9Unit, Cryptic and Unhinged, for this podcast, audiogram clips, and Mary Jane Not Kate V2. And my Snapchat's Mary Jane Not Kate, and my BeReal's Mary Kate Willis. Okay, that's all of them. Do you want to plug your socials?
Hell yeah. My personal is really boring, so I won't do that. But my personal fave for our business is at PersonalFavCo, PersonalFavCo on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And my BeReal is Han's Hut. It's cute. I forgot to post today, but I mean, I'll be real from maybe it's not very real, but maybe I'll be real from this podcast.
Yeah.
HANZHUTT. But personal fave is what matters most.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're here with Hannah today, and Hannah and I have many different interwoven, I guess, like connections through many different ways, but I guess we'll just like have you intro yourself and kind of say a little bit about who you are, why you're here, and I'll take a bong rip while you're doing it. Okay, beautiful.
Love it.
Go for it.
My name is Hannah Hutton, and I have known Mary Kate since she was born, which is terrifying.
Crazy.
Really fucking scary. And her older sister is my best friend, and I have a sexual health and wellness company called PersonalFavCo that Mary Kate actually helped us out with when we first launched, and because we needed someone young and cool to teach us social media, and also Mary Kate's just really smart and helped us on research.
Honestly, too, like it was for an internship, and I got school credit for it, which was kind of legit because
Super legit.
I did not think I was gonna like pass college. How old am I?
You're 21.
We just kind of covered this. Like I'm turning 22 this month, and I feel like I'm still mentally 18. But yeah, kind of like, so how do I do you want to intro or talk about how you met my sister?
Yes.
'Cause I feel like that's important.
It is important.
To the storyline.
It is. So your sister and I met when we were 10 back on the East Coast. I'm also from the East Coast. On Martha's Vineyard, which is like as white as it sounds.
Truly.
We're best summer friends, and so we've been, I'm old for all you listeners. I'm 32, almost 33,
Stop.
grandma. And so we met when we were 10, and
It's like literally the year I was born.
Yep, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy. And Taylor came out to California first in Orange County, and then I drove cross country 10 years ago, essentially following her to Los Angeles. I live in LA, and I've been here 10 years working in like clean business startup world, and then I started my own company.
Which is insane. Like the pipeline, I feel like, to starting your own business from working for somebody else is so real.
It's insane.
I think you just realize that you want to do that after,
I learned like so much
people.
about like listening to your pod. I was like, I hear Mary Kate so loudly and clearly because like I didn't love a lot of my bosses and like some of my authority, but I'm really good at managing other people and I have really good ideas, and sometimes I felt like stunted by them, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go do my own thing.
Do you think that also kind of stems from being a control freak?
Yep.
Yeah. Because I feel the same way, and I'm just like that. And then kind of how did you get into Personal Fave? Like, what was the pipeline there?
So where I worked before was this company called The Honest Company. It's like clean baby
We've all heard of it.
products, Jessica Alba, blah, blah, blah. And then my business partner, who's not here today, Stephanie, is a friend from high school, and she straight up had an infection at Burning Man. Someone using a nasty product with her, having sex at Burning Man. She had the worst UTI, had to go to the doctor's office, like, crazy.
Super inconvenient.
Like wildly inconvenient. And she had to go on antibiotics. It was bananas. And then we like did research, and the product that the dude used was disgusting. And we were like, okay, so like what I was doing with baby products, let's do with sex products. And let's also like diffuse shame and stigma around sex, and empower people to like prioritize their pleasure and make it fun and not instill fear and shame.
Yeah, I think that I didn't know the whole like pipeline came from Honest Co, because I knew there was a lot about like destigmatizing sexual stuff, which is perfect for my brand because I'm the first one to be like, oh, I was hooking up with this guy last night. And so it kind of almost like worked out in that way because I was like, oh, I'm very like sex positive. I'll talk about my sex life with anyone. And including my mom. People don't love that, but
Oh, I love it.
I love to talk about it.
I'll
She's
talk
got
about my
experience.
sex life with Jen.
Yeah, literally, with anyone, honestly.
yeah.
You shouldn't be, she always taught me growing up, you shouldn't be having it if you can't talk about it.
I agree. But like the way sexual education is, it just like
Yes.
instills fear. And they don't talk about pleasure. Pleasure's good, you guys. It's really good for your health. And Gen Z and millennials are all stressed the fuck out, and you know, more sex, less stress.
And we have hookup culture. Like, we live in hookup
Yes.
culture, and that's stigmatized. But, like, if you're going to be doing hookup culture, do it right.
Yes.
Like, do everything that you're supposed to there. But I think that, honestly, what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. I'm like, the high is sitting in now. Holy fuck. I think that something that was kind of interesting for me coming into it was working on social media, and I kind of helped kickstart the TikTok
Yes.
with it. How has that been going, and like, how do you use social media to kind of help the business?
So hard, and I know like with your personal business, you've dealt with this, which we were talking about before, and we're constantly shadow banned on Instagram, on TikTok, and we are making clean like sex products in black glass bottles. Like, it's super elevated and chic, and it gets shadow banned, but you can post like a swastika or a Confederate flag or like a fucking AR rifle, and like it doesn't get taken down. So it just like further motivates me, because I'm like, wow, social media and like the controlling around it all is so conservative and fucked up, and we're trying to like make people happy and have good sex, and like we have people who need to use lube. Our main products right now are lube, but I'm like, this shouldn't be shadow banned. But we just use it to further motivate us, and like we just clap back and post like, hey, guess what? We're shadow banned right now, and we're shameless about it.
Yeah, like, just here's more naked pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's a butt.
Do you think that it helped with the, they just took down the nipple ban? Has that been helping with the shadow ban?
It has, but I also fear that a lot of that was lip service, and I'm not sure how like the full rollout on that has been. So we haven't seen, like, honestly, right now we're super shadow banned, and this is the most shadow banned we've been in a while. So I hope Meta keeps its word around the free the nip, because like it's a nipple, guys.
Yeah, like, get over it. Especially women's only. Like, that's super fucking frustrating.
What the fuck?
Super frustrating.
Yes.
So, like, something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about is the whole concept of a shadow ban and like how that happens. Do you want to like explain it in your own words?
Well, I sure, like, on TikTok and on Instagram, literally words like sex, even like CBD, lube, are all in this data with all these bots and the AI, and like
the algorithm
immediately, the algorithm will flag it and hide it from people's feeds because it's considered adult content. So then you have to do the stupid workarounds of like misspelling sex or lube, or even fucking vagina and vulva. And I'm like, this is anatomy. This is like my body.
Yeah.
Like, why does that happen? And then it's to the point where like the bots in this algorithm with the AI, like this whole word bank they have, make it so your account literally doesn't show up in people's feed. And when you search for us, you have to spell out the entire handle for it to even populate.
That's frustrating.
Extremely frustrating.
Because I know there's like a difference. I mean, Instagram seems like it cracks down a lot harder in the sense that you're restricted for a lot longer period of time. With TikTok, when you get kind of shadow banned, it's something that you can break out of by
like
just
a little slap on the
posting.
wrist.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then eventually the repeated violations lead to accounts getting deleted, which I hear with Instagram is like the same. Like, when you get an account deleted, it's like gone.
My personal account got deleted off of Instagram. I had like less than 1,500 followers. Like, I did, and I barely posted. Gone. Poof. Wouldn't restore it. Nothing.
Yeah, like not even an appeal would go through. Yeah. And that's what people like don't understand about me losing my TikTok is like, you can't, there's no one on the other end.
No.
Like, you're sending in basically all these emails appealing. Like, I even had my fans appeal, and it's like, no one's going to listen to it unless you got the blue check next to your name.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and so there's even like that elitist structure too in social media and the algorithm itself, which is nuts, and no one talks about that. But you can definitely like pay your way out of the shadow bans and stuff like that if you've got the money. So ridiculous.
Just check it out what you guys got.
So I'll just tell the camera, my sister just walked in, and this is their best friends from like childhood. So that's the whole connection of like, things coming together in that sense. Which I honestly think since I started TikTok, wanted to get you guys on to, anything, because I feel like it's such a good story that goes with like my brand. I don't know. I get hired to do like I did a dating app opening once.
What was the app?
It's called Posse
Ooh.
Global, and you like basically connect it with your posse, your friend group, and you can be in a relationship to be on it. You can like go to make friends, be a wingman. You can specify it in the posse, and you'll put where you are for the night, whether it's like a restaurant, a bar, like a concert venue.
Oh, I'm so into
and
that.
Other posses can like track you on the map and come meet up with you.
That's very cool.
Like yeah.
Yes, Grouper was like way back in our day.
Yeah, I've never heard of anything like that before. Do you feel like you ran into a lot of problems, not just with the shadow ban? Like, did people in your social circle raise an eyebrow?
Why are you making a lube company? This is so weird.
I think it definitely, like, just off the bat, but once you get to know more about it and, like, the motives behind it being, like, clean and, like, talking about women's health and reproductive health and, like, sexual wellness.
100%.
It brings a lot to the table.
It brings a lot to the table, and it's like, if we're like eating organic food and like using clean makeup, like maybe what's touching our genitalia should be also clean. And there's so much like doesn't matter in age, like pelvic floor issues, LGBTQ like really benefit from our products.
Yes.
And so it's like once you get past the like, to your point exactly, like the raised eyebrow, you're kind of like, okay, cool. This is important and it's cool.
You're like, let me just like explain a little bit further.
Sit down.
Yeah, this is like more of like a conversation than just like a one-liner.
Which is like what we like a lot. Like we make great clean products, but we also want to help educate, and like we have a great blog, as you know.
Yeah.
We want people.
Your web design is super cool.
Thank you.
For
it's
that.
Very fun. Shout out to Anna Impson who did our site.
Yeah, that was
really
sick.
Cool.
And I remember Stephanie telling me that you guys got a lot of traffic just because of how it was designed alone.
Yes. So like a lot of awesome, like geeked out, design obsessed people. Like there's this thing called Thing Testing where you can find us, and they love our site. So and like there has been a lot of people, like we're transparently fundraising right now, and they're like, you should redo your site to make it more like shoppy and like a store. And I'm like, but I kind of like it.
It's so
different.
Fun.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Who we are.
If you guys have the chance, definitely go check out their website, because it's just like the coolest design I think I've seen for a website ever. I remember being like their whole aesthetic is super appealing. I wish I, had the brain power behind that, but you guys have put a lot of work into it.
Literal blood, sweat, and tears. And 24/7. Stephanie and I were on a call with this investor the other day, and we had like huge oversized sweatshirts, and like our hair looked like we had just gotten out of medical institute because we just like had been up all night doing work.
Yeah, like cracked.
We're professional, but like this is what happens when you start a company.
Yeah. How did you what was the motive behind? How did you know even where to begin?
It is so hard, and we were really fortunate. Like we got a small angel check from like friends and family, and we still have friends and family giving us small checks, and we said and we stalked a chemist in the valley and like gave a wish list of like what we want, what type of ingredients we wanted in our products. And he was like, cool. He was like very into what we were creating.
Love that.
We found like the coolest, like we just literally did so much stalking of like what we wanted to build. We're like, okay, we want really cool packaging. We want really cool branding. Like we had sessions where we would do like get really stoned and like brainstorm what would be our dream website, brand name, colors, and it was so fun, and it took a long time, and it's definitely not perfect. And we also like, we're allergic to ego, so we know what we don't know. We're like, okay, cool, we're not financial data analysts, we're not financiers, we're not scientists, so we're just gonna like ask all the experts and have them support us.
Yeah, and like play the role sometimes. I feel like
yes.
a lot of people end up finding success in starting things that they feel almost underqualified for, that they could never do.
100%. Like transparently, we are in talks. We talked to engineers at MIT this morning.
Wow.
Of re-engineering the condom, and like, is gonna take a long ass time, but we want it to be something that people enjoy using instead of dread using. And so whether it's like new materials that we make it out of. Like, we're going to have a marketing splash on college campuses with really strict abortion laws in those states and just be like, but again, we don't know how to fucking make a condom. So we're talking to really, really much smarter people at MIT this morning about it.
That's insane, because I was like, I mean, almost you think in that direction when you make a lube, like to kind of have the pair to go together. And then you have two different kinds of lube.
Yes. So we have a water base, which is latex compliant.
Yay.
And then we have a CBD oil base, and they're both toy safe.
Yeah.
Because are you a Belasco girl?
A Belasco girl,
yeah. I love that. Yeah, it works with all Belasco.
Really? Good reviews?
Yes, great reviews.
Well, there you go. But interwoven together again. The brands are so consistent.
Can't help it.
But yeah, I feel like that's so important too, because I feel like a lot of people don't know about lube. Can you just talk about like how lubes on the market are unhealthy and what's going on with all that?
Okay, so I'm going to use a bunch of nerdy words, but
Do it.
there are endocrine disruptors in most lubes on the market, which means that they are filled with petrochemicals, phthalates, and parabens that should not be touching your reproductive organs whatsoever, which is why Stephanie got a horrible UTI that sent her to the doctors from Burning Man because of the product that she used. And there's also like, it messes up sperm motility and fertility, and you're just putting like anything. This goes for any personal care product that you see, but if there is an ingredient that says fragrance or perfume, even if it's unscented, that means it's a cocktail of unregulated ingredients. And so we don't even call our products lubricants, because that would mean they'd have to be like through the FDA tested on animals and using like some of their more regulated or unregulated ingredients to make them CVS shelf safe. So we have sex serums and pleasure oils. And so there's silicone lubes, water lubes, and oil lubes. We do water and oil just because that's where you can source the cleanest ingredients from. People really like silicone because they think it can stay wet longer, because like traditionally it can, but we geeked out on our ingredients. And they're both perfect.
And I think wet is like saliva reactivated as well, right?
And it's pH matched.
Yum.
Which is great. And it just got published in an academic journal from Texas Tech for sperm motility and conception.
Shut up.
Yeah, which is very cool. So there is Taylor.
My sister's holding up cue cards.
Fangirl in the corner.
But yeah, that's insane.
It's insane. And so there's this product called Pre-Seed that you can get at CVS, which is like parents that are trying to conceive always buy, and that's been the number one on the market for 30 years. And in this controlled study, we just outperformed it, which is so cool. Yay!
That is amazing. Wait, that's so cool. I mean, I'm literally taking a class right now where we're talking about all these research studies, and that's all I've been looking through all day.
That.
Like, imagine if I accidentally stumbled upon it. I would have, like, shit myself. I have to look it up after this. That's crazy, though. That's, like, official.
It's legit.
And haven't you gotten launched in, like, a lot of other things recently?
So we are in Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's store. We're in a lot of sex shops: Pleasure Test, Babeland, Lion's Den, Hustler Hollywood.
I went to a few of those with Stephanie,
Yes,
by
did.
the way, and it was like the most insane experience of my life.
Exactly what you're picturing, whoever's listening. And Stephanie, like, this is her college credit internship, taking Mary Kate into sex shops to do research to get our product on shelves, which is hilarious.
It was so fun.
Of course. And like, but the thing with sex shops, rightfully so, they have this like extremely seedy, gross connotation. So we want to like shift that narrative and be like, I kind of think about it as cannabis too, because it's like back in the day when you were like buying weed, it was like shady, you didn't really talk about it, and now like weed stores look like Apple stores, and it's like, why can't we do that with sex shops too? Like, elevate it, like, pleasure. And that was kind of
the whole move with the packaging too, right? It was just to make it look
like, you want it to be chic, that you can leave it on the shelf without feeling awkward. Like they're both in black glass bottles with pumps, but the boxes are really fun, genderless, bright colors. Yeah. Our tagline is literally, we keep it clean so you can get dirty. Yeah. Like, we just like it to be cheeky and fun. Like, that's what sex and pleasure should be. Fun. Yeah. We're like a little jester with like a little caretaker for you.
Honestly, it's really just like the coolest thing that I've ever heard of, and I think that I even had the bottle at one point. I did leave it up on my shelf. I always had it out. It does look really good.
It's really pretty.
It is.
I'm very proud of it.
It's very like official. And then kind of going into like everything that has been a challenge and with launching and all of that, what are like the roses and thorns? What are the positives and negatives of this whole process? Yeah.
So Stephanie and I are super cheesy. We met in high school, so we know each other personally, which like when you start a business with a friend, you have to be able to set boundaries like personally and professionally and not let them get in the way of each other, which we've definitely been good at. But since we know each other so well, we really prioritize just every mini milestone, whether it's like, wow, we had a really good day on our website with like the amount of orders we came in, and we'll like hug each other and tell each other we're so proud. Or we'll be like, wow, we just posted a blog post and everything was spelled incorrectly. So like, you know, we're not perfect. We're definitely human. And in terms of like roses, when we first launched, like seeing our names with our product in Glamour magazine, I think was like a huge pinch me moment. To be like, okay, this is legit. This is really, really real. Getting in Goop 8 months after launch was like such a rose. But a thorn is really like right now, due to the economy, like fundraising, it sucks. I mean, it further motivates me, but it's like you're talking to just a bunch of old white men and being like, please give us your money. It's like two young girls that are, like created this product. So, you know.
Sexuality can be used to your advantage in that way.
That's what I'm saying.
Ask not what you can do for the patriarchy, but what the patriarchy can do for you.
MK for president.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink. And on my birthday. I'll make it a national holiday.
Okay, great. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, the 28th.
Oh, but I was going into that, like influencers. Do you feel like influencers have helped you to promote your product in a way?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's finding the right influencers that are sex positive. Like you can gift anyone you want to.
True.
Like when we first launched, we gifted Tinks, and like she was really nice, but like and it was like right when she was taking off, she wasn't gonna like post anything. That's fine. But what I'm noticing is like influencers with smaller followings are more authentic, and you can like, the consumer isn't dumb too. Like a consumer can be like, wow, this person's getting paid to talk about that product versus like, oh, that person like is interested and really cares. So I'm noticing a shift, and for us, we just like want to continue to cultivate community of people that like genuinely care, and I'm not going to be able to please everyone, pun intended, and that's fine. So it's like cool if you're like someone that we're reaching out to that we want to gift, and you're like, oh, I'll use that like privately, but I won't promote it. Like we'll probably still gift you because like we want people to enjoy the product. But if you're someone who's like, yeah, I'd like love to post about it, like I'm more inclined to pay that person too because they like genuinely care about it. I'd rather pay someone with a smaller following who like will really do their research and like talk about the product versus someone with like 1 million followers who's like, swipe up 20% off. And I think I took an influencer marketing class like within the last year, and we kind of talked about how brands, like bigger brands too, are even doing the same thing with moving to smaller kind of platforms to push it, because again, the authenticity aspect of it 100%. And they'll work way harder for less. So what you'd pay an influencer for one swipe up, they'll make 5 videos about it. It's just crazy, like the control of the influencer versus the consumer, and we're a really scrappy company. Like we don't even pay ourselves yet. Yeah, that's part of our fundraise. Again, everyone listening, like donate, go water your money tree and like say a prayer or something. But so we like, I want to also be in a position when we do get proper fundraising that I can pay people what they're worth too. Because that's like been a struggle. It's a lot of like chicken and the egg of like, oh, like we can help you take off, but you have to pay us this. And I'm like, I would love to, but I genuinely can't. Yeah, like we have no budget right now. Yeah. And that's crazy. That's something that's really tough too. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand is like brands also go through like quarters where they have more money and quarters where they have next to nothing. And 100%. Like it really all depends on kind of how they're doing. I found that in the winter, shit slows down. Yes. Like these 2 months, January, February, they do. It's like the most stretched. It is. And especially everyone right now is like, recession. And I'm like, but what's great is that pandemics and recessions, people still have sex. So yeah, exactly. Probably drink more. And they have sex. Yeah. 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 so use it to your advantage for sure. Like, what are the future plans? What's the next directions? What are the next steps in the company besides fundraising? Yeah. Fundraising, working on condoms. I just gave Mary Kate and Taylor a lip and nip balm sample. So
Oh, I didn't know it was for nips too.
okay, so let me tell you more.
Yes, please
the first
do.
iteration. Like the nip part won't necessarily apply to you. You'll see.
Okay.
So it's a lip balm that like we're gonna use as a gateway drug for, like, to your point, people earlier when people are like, you have a lube company, and it's like everyone has a chapstick in every purse, car, like bedroom, what have you, whatever gender you are. And so this one we worked with our chemist that it can be on all chapped skin. So you got chapped both sets of lips, go crazy. It's safe. Said that. And then for breastfeeding moms, because moms have been like coming towards us and really into our products, because you know, when you guys eventually have kids, like things change down there and you're going to need lube. So don't worry. We'll cross
and the fertility aspect.
Major conception.
Yeah.
And so this product is doctor safe for breastfeeding moms with chapped nipples. But it's also just a really, really great lip balm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
I was like, ooh.
Wipes. I know, nips.
Yeah, it's like, hello.
We just really want to make the KYs and Astroglides of the world irrelevant. And like Durex, I think it's just like male toxicity of like they're creating products that don't have women's pleasure in mind, or like non-binary or queer pleasure in mind. And we're actually been really surprised, like the amount of straight dudes that have liked our product.
So that's what I was literally just going to bring up. Something that has been a huge conversation in all of my college classes is that women are thriving sexually and men are starting to struggle.
Yes.
So in Japan, over half of men aged 35 are virgins.
That I did not know, and I'm shook to my core.
Well, here's the reasoning. Porn addiction.
That because you have this false ideal or identity of what sex
Objectification of women as well.
Yes. And that's like a huge part that Stephanie and I eventually want to bring to like curriculum, like when we can, for education, is like boys are just go to like Pornhub when they're 12 and think that that's what girls want in the bedroom.
And that's the beginning of the Andrew Tate pipeline. Oh, sure.
That's my bad. But like,
my sister has a 12-year-old.
13. Ah! Okay. 16-year-old boys watch porn, and they think that that's what pleasure is. And I would much rather like shift the narrative around that and be like, I'd rather you learn early what pleasure with yourself looks and feels like and what a partner feels like, and then you'll actually be able to enjoy it and not like just be addicted to shitty porn.
Yeah, and not to backtrack to the whole sexual education route, but like in high school, I remember coming here and I took my first women's studies class, and they were like, who here wants to talk about their sexual education in high school? And I raised my hand, easy, participation, great. So I'm like, yeah, me. And I'm like, yeah, so in high school, we just really learned about like the anatomy and then straight to like what diseases we can contract.
Fear.
And that was it.
Fear-based.
And everyone like turns their head because it's mostly California natives. And they're like,
so true.
It's so liberal here
I know.
and so like positive in the education and so forward thinking. And they all went to private school. So I didn't really get that education. With the public school, it's even worse.
It's bananas.
It's crazy. So I didn't learn anything. My only memory from sex education in school was our teacher told us she shoved a frozen hot dog up her vagina and had to have it surgically removed.
Also, like, you're an idiot as a teacher to tell a bunch of like middle schools and teenagers there, because they're just gonna like laugh at that and not in like.
But then as you get older and like everyone's masturbating, it's scary.
Of course it is,
because you're like, oh my god, what if I get a hot dog? So, you know,
yes,
like
so
that's
true.
a possibility.
It's a possibility.
The chances are never zero.
The chances are never zero, but like just use a vibrator.
A vibrator and some fucking lube.
A vibrator and some lube.
But the reason she used a hot dog in the first place is because there's shame behind it. She didn't fucking have a vibrator.
Damn.
It all comes full circle.
It's all the amount of shame. That's like a huge motivator for us.
Which is also playing into the porn addiction as well, because I personally, in the last, 2 years, the guys that I've hooked up with all deal with some level of erectile dysfunction.
Ew.
And like the last guy I dated, I didn't have sex with for 4 months, and that's like why we broke up. As a 20-year-old girl.
Yeah, that is dark.
Yeah.
I really hate that.
And they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it.
The male gaze is like, you can't talk about anything that, especially when it comes to your dick, that could be negative.
Shameful.
Yeah, and shameful. We need to get some young straight dudes on here and talk to them.
About like their sexual health and wellness. I honestly really, really would love it. I think there's just still, I mean, so much stigma behind it.
So much stigma behind it. The CBD lube that we have is really great for masturbation. That's what I'll say, guys.
Yeah.
I will say it's my friends who are married have coined that this product's called Pique, and they say it's cheaper than couples therapy. So
that's kind of amazing. Quote that on the website.
We want a billboard of it,
like a T-shirt even. That would be great. Therapy. A sticker. I see it. But I feel like, God, there was a direction I was going to go with that. How old were you when you feel like people started talking about like sex openly, besides like, and masturbation and stuff like that and sexual wellness?
Like, I have very liberal parents, but they still like didn't really have those conversations with me. And I remember with my high school boyfriend, who Taylor knows, like I had to keep it a secret. Like I would have much rather been like, I'm 16 and I'm like, I'm in love with him, like blah, blah, blah. And like, I remember when I lost my virginity to him, and my parents were chill, but they were also strict. And for curfew, I was sleeping at my girlfriend's house, and I had to call from a landline when I was home from curfew.
Yeah.
And so I left his house, went to her house, called from the landline, and went back to his house. And for me, I'm like, there was just so much unnecessary fear that I had. And when, by the way, like, I was safe with him. I felt really comfortable with him.
Yeah.
I wasn't like out there doing anything crazy, but I felt so guilty.
Yeah.
And like I betrayed my parents when I much rather would have like had a conversation with them. But it's awkward. Like society has made it so like this shit is unnecessarily awkward. So like my like vow is like I'm gonna talk like different stages of pleasure to my offspring throughout, just so they like don't feel like they have to like hide shit.
Yeah.
They don't need to like give me details on their sex life if they don't want to. That's fine. But like I want to make sure that they don't feel fear-based. So yeah, I just think like I had very supportive parents and like went to a pretty chill school, but I never got like the warm hug of like, it's okay to have sex. Like having sex is not a bad thing. Like pleasure is great. Actually, like masturbation and orgasm helps stress. Like there are signs like oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin are real.
And
like,
a thing that happens.
Yes,
yeah.
That's important. That's good. It's good to feel good. So catch like Mary Kate and I revamping sex ed in the future.
I think that would be honestly really sick if you guys ended up doing a whole educational kind of segment about like not only sexual health and wellness, but like a also, podcast would be really cool for you guys.
I think it would be so fun, and there's so much stuff in like middle school and high school and even college that like I feel like you learn so much more from your girlfriends than you do from school.
Yeah.
And that's where the real sex ed comes in, because everyone's like, am I doing this right? Is this normal? Is this okay if this happens? And it's like, yeah.
Encourage the conversation.
Yes, let's have it. Empower each other. Prioritize your pleasure, people. Keep fucking.
That, and I feel like younger people look to the internet for help with that stuff.
Course.
Like, I remember looking up how to give a blowjob when I was younger. I feel like everyone has.
Yes, and if, like, that's the case, I'd much rather it be, like, from a cool, like, female-led website that, like, is gonna tell you in a way that's, like, not gross or degrading.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's very empowering.
Elevate it. I do like that whole message, that like repetitive theme.
Yes.
I forget where I was gonna go next with it. I like have a horrible. I feel like I have
ADHD.
I have it really bad too. Do you recommend starting your own company or business?
If you are crazy, yes, do it.
Or extremely wealthy.
Yeah, if I was super rich, this would definitely be a lot easier. So I'm really grateful for like friends that have given $10,000. Some have given $50,000. Like I'm extremely grateful, and they're all investors. So don't worry, they'll get paid.
Yeah,
eventually. But if you are passionate about something, especially to like girls that are listening, like I feel like in school and even in like past life of like my career, I I like wish I had been as opinionated as you and vocal as you were in school, because I like I was really smart, but I also like had really smart dudes in my class that were like hella opinionated and like in your face. And so I was like, shit, I'm going to sound like an idiot. And I like regret so much not speaking up in classes when I should have. And that I've used towards building a business. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm about to build something that people are going to be like, what the fuck? Why is this random girl making a lube company? And like, that's what motivated me. I was like, I want to do something that people wouldn't expect and that I'm actually genuinely passionate about. So if you like, and starting's the hardest part. You have to like just be shameless in who you ask for advice and like who you go to, and don't feel like an idiot, because
there are no stupid questions.
There aren't, and like even if they are stupid, like whatever.
Someone will be happy to talk your ear off about it. Yeah, who knows a lot more.
I just make sure I'm always asking people that are smarter than me questions, and like people, and like so shameless with my network, and like
I was just gonna say that
their network.
Do you feel like your network is your net worth?
Yes,
100%,
1,000,000%.
It's all about who you know.
It's all about who you know, and like build relationships too. Like I'm allergic to ego, so is Stephanie. Like ego to me is so cringe, and so don't think just because like you have one success that you're hot shit, and you might
side eye. I think I'm very successful because I had one hit.
You are fucking successful, and I love that. I'm just saying, ask people, and don't be afraid. You never know who's going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. You are successful. Okay,
bitch? True. I think, what was I going to say about... I feel the same way about TikTok, because like I think there are definitely moments too where you doubt yourself and you're 100%. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like
I look like an idiot, and
I could be making money elsewhere and doing something else. But I feel like there's so much importance about doing things that you're passionate about and like pursuing your passions, because
passionate about and that scare you.
Yeah, your comfort zone will kill you is one of my favorite quotes. Because it's like I'm raging social anxiety, and when you have anxiety, you live in either the past or the future.
100%.
And sometimes both. And so I just struggle the most with being present, and, you know, I think about all the bad what ifs. I'm a catastrophizer, but I never think about the potential in situations.
That's like Stephanie would say that if she was here. She's like runs super anxious socially. Yeah. And so like something like we coach and train each other on what we call our blind spots all the time, and I'm like, what's the worst that will happen? Like they'll say no, or like, it won't work that time. I'm like, she's like, I don't want to bother that person, or like, what if we look stupid? I'm like, then we look stupid and we bothered them. Okay. Yeah. Like it won't be the end of the world.
And they probably won't remember it. No. Like it will be insignificant. I mean, the whole 5-year rule, like, is this really gonna matter, or whatever the fuck it is, 7 years? I don't know. It never does. No. So. And sometimes you'll be happy you did it and took the risk.
Amen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I had that literal breakdown yesterday. I was like, I'm just going to, like, I texted my manager. I was like, should I give up? And she texted me. She's like, why are you being cryptic? Called me and was like, she goes, are we about to spiral? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I sense a spiral. And I'm like, ugh, yeah. And I just start crying. Aww. And I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I feel like I'm constantly putting in and I'm never getting back. And she's like, shut the fuck up. Like, gratitude check right now. Like, 3 things?
Yes, and, like, gratitude check.
I do that every day. I name 3 things that I'm grateful for, because even though I'm, like, pessimistic as fuck inherently, I think that it helps.
It 100%
to kind of just be aware. Yeah, you get so caught up.
You have to be. And, like, also it's, like, okay to have the spiral. I'm like a bit of a control freak when it comes to the business. I'm like, let's push through, like it's fine. And Stephanie's like, I need a moment to like cry and express that I'm stressed. I'm like, okay, you're human, and I need to like allow and accept that. Yeah. That like what we're doing is really overwhelming, because I'm like,
you're go. Like, just like pick it up, carry on. Which like I feel like you see more of the hustle, and I don't see enough of the breakdown. And that's like my whole brand. My videos that go the most viral is me literally losing my shit. I mean, crying, screaming. Yeah, people love it. It's raw as fuck.
Be raw. Stephanie's like a triple water sign, so I'm like really.
What are you?
I'm Aries, Capricorn.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
So you're very much business.
I'm very much business. I'm fiery, but I like using my fire as like a sense of warmth and light for others.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting eye
and
rolls.
A fire under your ass.
And a fire under your ass and anyone around me. But so, which is wild working with Stephanie is, and she's so vocal about it. She's like, you need to remember that I'm a triple water sign.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to feel
I love her.
every fucking thing. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like, breathe.
But it puts me in check, too, because, like, I really appreciate it. She brings the human element to our business. And, like, at the end of the day, like, we are humans. We aren't necessarily, like, our bottom line of business. And, like,
Truly.
That's huge about who we are as a brand. So shout out to Stephanie. Wish she was here.
Honestly,
but she's also feeling her feelings. She's like, I'm not feeling 100 today. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go hang out with Mary Kate.
I saw that text last night and I was out and I was like, real. Like, literally so fucking real. Because I'm a shutdown. Like, I can't, I have to feel everything or else anything that will come after that is like nightmare fuel. Nightmare. Like, scary. I don't even like the bitch that I become. But, I mean, I'm also Pisces. I'm a big water sign.
Oh, duh. Your birthday's next week.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm a big emotional bitch. But I have a Virgo rising, so I'm a cunt. Yeah.
No, but I love Virgo.
I mean, okay, we have our shit together. Yes. Like, at the end of the day, I'll be a mess. I'm crying my way through it, but it's going to get done. Yeah, yes. Yeah. I, like, pack it all up. And then...
I have, like, Virgo envy. I'm very jealous.
Really?
Yeah, like
you kind of give me Virgo energy.
Yeah, that's, like, a huge compliment.
Yeah, it's like, you probably have it somewhere in your chart.
Deep.
Yeah. That's why you guys get along. Yeah.
And I'm double Aries Capricorn.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Nightmare. Nightmare. So when you get mad, you get really mad, both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like pissed.
Passionate.
Yeah, that's what my friend was yelling the other day on the phone, and I was like, lower, and he's like, I'm not yelling, I'm speaking with passion. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, that's some dude energy for you.
That's real though. I feel that sometimes. Like, I'll be screaming, and I'm like, the volume is not loud. It's my energy.
Yeah.
That's fair. And then something I want to ask too is, like, what advice can you offer to graduating college students? I feel like even high school students, like, what's next to come? What motivated you? What got you through being, like, younger and kind of into who you are today?
What motivates me is the bullshit. Like, being like people that stigmatize what we're building. I'm like, cool. Let me further motivate that, because there are people who do feel shame that shouldn't feel shame, and I want to be a resource for them. So if there are, like, areas in your life where you feel like you're being, like, pigeonholed or, like, under someone's thumb and it's, like, preventing you from being your best self, like, lean into those areas and try to, like, have them explode, and don't literally bomb. But, like, in the sense where it's you, like, empower yourself. So I've managed a lot of people in my life, and, like, and I've had a lot of shit managers. And so for anyone who's like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I graduate from college, or, like, I want to start my own thing, like, my biggest piece of advice is build relationships with people that, like, you might not normally build relationships with, personally and professionally, because you can always learn from people, even if it's, like, outside of, like, your social norm, and you're going to discover a lot more of yourself. And especially if you have social anxiety, I know that's, like, extremely challenging, but human connection in the business world and in the personal world is so important. And that's, like, again, why I'm grateful for Stephanie, because she humanizes everything. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I was a drama geek. And then,
really?
Yeah. Theater nerd, bully.
What was your major?
I started in college as a theater nerd. Shit you not. And
what
then,
the fuck?
Yeah, like, same. And then I switched to public communication and did community development and applied economics. So it's, like, sustainable comms. And then I drove cross country to LA and worked as a customer service agent at a baby company.
Did you get the job before you drove across country?
No, I had no idea what I was doing.
Holy shit. Wait, how old were you?
22.
Okay.
Lied to my parents and said that I had an apartment and a job. I had neither. Drove from Boston. By the time I got to Nevada, I had an apartment, which was a shared studio with my friend. And then I worked at a really weird bag company, that I'm very grateful for the experience. Actually, Taylor got me connected to this company. No, but, like, I'm so grateful.
You brought me to her.
Yes.
You're really the connect queen that I know a guy.
Yeah. And the bag company was, like, true startup life. It totally failed. It was so weird. And then someone I knew was at the Honest Company, and I'm, like, 22 with a big head, and I'm like, I don't want to work at a baby baby company. And I worked there, and it was sick. And I worked there for 6 years. And while I was there, I learned so much. And that was like, I wasn't making that much money in the beginning. I just absorbed everything. And like, this sounds so cheesy and kind of old school, but I grew a lot at that company and got promoted a bunch because I was just like, I'm going to know every person in every department. I'm going to know the names of the people that clean the fucking toilets after hours. Yeah. I'm going to know like the CEO's assistant's family life. Like, I will know everything about this company, and that's how I learned and like ran some shit.
I don't even know like what else do I talk about? We need like one last solid point.
Well,
like,
what do we talk about this on the pod, but on a personal level, I had no idea you wanted a boob job.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is like something, I went home and I had just lost all of my TikToks for winter break. Okay. This wasn't even my own idea. Like, I've always wanted, like, ideally if I get the money, I'm bimbo-ficationing myself. Okay. Like, totally Great. Jennifer Coolidging my whole body.
Love that.
Yeah.
Spirit animal.
Yeah. And so I'm just like really insecure. Like, I kind of dealt with like eating disorder, body dysmorphia
Same.
Stuff.
I have severe body dysmorphia, and I had an eating disorder.
I had a lot of like sexual shame and like because of that too.
Yes.
Yeah, you like feel gross about yourself.
On your pod, I remember.
Yeah, I felt.
Made me sad.
I did. Yeah, losing my virginity to like assault is really tough.
Yeah, that's fucking scary, and that's like, I think, like bringing it back to Fave, some people that are raise their eyebrow when they say what we're doing. I think there's such this like connotation of sex, and especially like right now with the Me Too movement, people are like, why are you advertising sex? Like, that can be so scary, and that could be bliss. And that's like the antithesis of what we're doing. Like, we want it to be empowering and powerful for the vulva owner so that like they don't have to feel the shame or fear. And like, especially if people have experienced that type of shame or fear in the past, like how to reclaim their pleasure, because there are so many douchebags out there that like dim people's sparkle.
And that's really like, that's something, you know, it's helped me when I tried the lube. I fucking worked for you guys. I have to know how it works. It was great. I can attest to it. But I like really struggle with having sober sex because it's very vulnerable and intimate. And half these bitches who have been assaulted, we're all on like antidepressants. So we're dry as a bone.
Yes.
So it's not just like menopausal women that need it and women going through like childbirth. It's people our age.
That we have another intern at Wesleyan right now, and she literally is writing a piece for us on antidepressants and sex, because I'm on antidepressants, and it can fuck up your sex drive, and I'm like not gonna let the chemical imbalance in my brain get in the way of my pleasure.
Even smoking weed like is a huge problem. Sometimes it can either elevate it or it can like make everything so fucking awkward. Completely. You're like overthinking all of it. So I think that honestly it's like really helpful. But back to the boob job story, back to how that happened. I went home, lost all my TikToks, and I'm crying to Jen about it. Jen comes in after working like a 12-hour shift, and I'm like, I'm giving up. I'm so over it. I'm never going to get it back. And she was like, we're going to call someone. We're going to figure something out. And like the next day she woke up, she's got the cup of coffee in her hand. She's in her PJs. She's like, MK, and she gives me a little squeeze, and she's like, I think we could get you a boob job. And I'm like, what? Like, I hadn't even said anything about it. Yeah, and she starts to say, she's like, listen, and it kind of goes back to the whole idea of like, ask not what the patriarchy, you know, you can do, what it can do for you.
100%.
And she was like, sex sells. And like these girls, like, think about Alex Earl is like openly talking about her breast augmentation on TikTok all the time, and she's always having her yitties out. Like, there's a lot of like famous comedians that are women that talk about getting boob jobs, and like that's you kind of have to play it to your advantage, and just be like, this is like me, and like I got this done, and then you pull in not only the loyal female audience who like relate, but you're pulling in male gaze.
And I think to your point of like, because a lot of what we do, like we do want to dismantle the male gaze, but like how can we use it to our advantage and be like, okay, if you guys are going to be in control and have the power, like, fine, this is like, you're gonna help us then, and we're gonna succeed.
Take the power back.
Hell yes.
And I think there's ways to like objectify yourself in a way that's not so shameful and so male gazy.
It's like on your terms.
Like I can make myself feminine for, you know, 100%. Like being naked, like more of an art form, female gaze.
I love being sexy. I love like putting on really hot lingerie for my boyfriend, and it's 100% way more for me than it is for him. I like feel so sexy in it.
We were talking about last night how this girl like matches her whole like underwear to her outfits and her earrings. I was like, One day.
One day.
I'll be that
have my
together.
shit together.
Yeah. It's like, that sounds nice.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful.
I can't. I was like, I love being a girl.
Yeah,
like
me
little
too.
moments like that.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, I feel like we can just like wrap it up here.
Cool. Great.
It's been insane having you, but I think we'll do one last social
Whatever you
plug
want.
before we
Yes.
go. Follow my new TikToks, MK9 Unit, Mary Jane Not Kate V2, Cryptic and Unhinged for all the podcast stuff. My YouTube, this video is going to go up on Mary Jane Not Kate. We'll see if I get it up in time. It's always a gamble with me. And then my Instagram's marykate.willis.
Love it. I'm PersonalFavCo, F-A-V for fave, C-O, and our website is PersonalFave.co, but that is the handle for Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Please follow us.
Check them out. Try some. Honestly, highly recommend. I've watched Hannah squirt it into her own mouth.
It's true.
So,
That's how clean it is.
yeah, we're selling it hard here.
And
But-
it's 23% off the rest of the month. I don't know when this is going to go live.
oh, it'll go live this month. Yeah,
Great.
definitely next week.
Yeah, my
So-
fave 23 at checkout because we want everyone's 2023 to be wet.
Yay! Oh my god. Okay, well, thank you for joining me, and we'll have to have like Stephanie if she ever comes back to La La Land.
She will.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Hi.